There is some other like small stuff in the X division. So the story this month is that we are building toward the World X Cup coming up in April, May. So after lockdown, we get the World X Cup coming up. So there's some X division stuff running through the month.
It looks like a spicy World X Cup too.
Yeah, we have some cool people potentially being in it.
And some cool people that should have been in it.
So, like, first impact of the month, we do get a Jay Lethal versus Shannon Moore versus Roderick Strong match to earn a spot on Team USA in the World X Cup.
So, watching this, I was like, man, Jay Lethal already feels like above jobber status. And I mean that more than just he is winning a match. Like, he came out and something about the way it was shot, that just how he looked, the confidence on it, like he looked like a signed member of the roster progressing in a way that like a Roderick Strong or an Austin Aries don't quite yet. Aries feels a little bit more than Strong. But yeah, I just noticed it and I was watching Lethal and I was like, wow, this guy looks like he's taken a step up.
Yeah, he feels like he's taken to TV a lot faster than, as you mentioned, particularly like Strong, who like has good matches but does not feel like a guy who pops on TV in the same way Lethal has in Lethal's first few performances.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know, something about him, he looked TV ready more than you would expect for someone of his career.
I do appreciate how, like, they're also, like, committing to that, you know? They're not like, oh, Jay Lethal's just a job guy. Jay Lethal's just a guy who we put in enhancement matches to lose the stars. They kind of identify pretty quickly that Jay Lethal is a guy who has a little bit of upside, who looks good on TV, who's, like, explosive, who's, like, dynamic. Fair enough, Samoa Joe did everything within his power to make sure that he actually looked like that in their first match. But, like, Jarrett gave him a ton when Jarrett randomly wrestled on TV too. So like they do even like reinforce in this match that like Lethal beat PD, Shelley and Bentley at Against All Odds. So they drive home that Lethal is not just like a guy who is losing on TV. They're like, oh, like he won at the pay-per-view. Lethal has like some forward momentum going. In this match, Moore leg lariated Lethal into a strong German, which is a cool spot. Moore elevated Lethal over the turnbuckle into a Rana on Strong on the other side, which is also a cool spot. Moore followed with a moonsault to the floor, and Lethal pinned Strong with a full Nelson suplex, a dragon suplex if you will. Good match, probably the best TV match of the month for me.
Yeah, Lethal getting the win on Shannon Moore would have been really nice if the guy's leaving.
Oh, Shannon Moore is doing all these jobs on the way out, Liam. Have you not heard?
I mean, he did lose the match.
He has lost some matches. He was pinned in none of them.
Yeah.
There's talk of bringing Jeff Hardy back for the return to primetime. Shannon Moore is a good friend of Hardy, so TNA management may put Shannon Moore in charge of Hardy to ensure he shows up. They don't in the end, but once again, they are still being like, Jeff Hardy? Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, but they're also being like, Russo?
So yeah, Jay Lethal is on Team USA in the World X Cup.
I'm excited for it.
March 11th Impact, there is another qualifying match for not the World X Cup in fact. Actually no, it is, it's both a spot on Team USA or Team TNA and also a spot in the X Division Showcase at Destination X. So Mike Tenay mentions that there is an X Division Showcase at the pay-per-view that is currently meant to feature Puma, Durango Kid, and Petey Williams. This is a little World X Cup preview. Durango Kid is not in the match because apparently they kept calling CMLL being like, hey, what's the deal? And they stopped answering. So
something that CMLL seems to be doing a lot.
They thought they had a deal more or less done with CMLL to be like, you know, we're doing some stuff going forward. You'll have a team in the World X Cup. We'll be bringing some of your guys in. And that just didn't happen. They just apparently stopped answering the phone. So it went back to AAA, as it always does.
I was going to say, the famed idea of wanting CMLL but being stuck with AAA.
Larry Z, for some reason, was watching this match on from the ramp. Slick Johnson ran out to talk to him about something, and Larry's like, go away, and left.
I assume Larry watches every match.
From the
and
ramp.
This one was for a spot on Team TNA, so that is his team.
He's extra invested in who's making it.
Yeah, because his team, that's the team representing his company against the other teams from around the world.
I kind of love Shelley just casually breaking out a tombstone pile driver in this match. Just like, I'm just going to drop this. Because, like, every time, while Undertaker was an active wrestler in particular, people were so, like, protective of that move. It's like, that's Undertaker's move. Alex, so other people shouldn't be doing Undertaker's move. And Alex Shelley just, like, doing it for a near fall in this X Division 3-way on TV. Sabin pins Shelley with the Cradle Shock to earn a spot on Team TNA and also earn a place in the X Division Showcase that does actually still end up featuring Sanjay Dutt.
There you go. He earned his spot via not being pinned.
That's true.
I like that Shelley's all over these shows, but barely winning.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where it's like, there's the difference in wrestling between being pushed and being featured. Like, people generally can't tell the difference. Like, Shelley is not currently being pushed. but he is being pretty heavily featured, and it's better off for him because he's been featured in ways that play to his strengths, particularly in the paparazzi production stuff. But yeah, it's always interesting to draw that distinction. Brings us to the pay-per-view. Opening match was Alex Shelley versus Jay Lethal.
It was good.
And Alex Shelley won, so eat your hat, sir.
Which is why it's really good.
I like Alex Shelley's little like Gatling gun taunt he does with the camera tripod as he does his entrance.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's a good. He's very good. He's a very good pro wrestler. Some would say.
The crowd have already like taken to Lethal, like they're super interested in him. So like the crowd are very into him in this match. So it's fun to see. Like they again, to add to, not only is he looking TV ready, not only is he being pushed a little bit, but like he is getting good crowd responses as well. It's all working out for Jay Lethal here at the start.
Yeah, he's moving on up.
For a lot of this pay-per-view, nearly all of it, you can hear the faint sound of the Spanish announcing underneath it.
Yeah, I think that's LAX's influence.
I wonder if it's Conan, because it's Conan and I think Armando Quintero is the Spanish announce team at the moment. It's definitely Conan anyway. Maybe Moody Jack. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, we saw Conan in the Killings match, so...
Oh yeah, they brawled up to him, yeah. So maybe Conan is just so loud that you can just hear him.
But you also hear, like, crowd noise, too. It's like the whole audio is just connected.
Yeah, something is bleeding through here. But yeah, so even, like, during pre-tapes and everything, you can hear the Spanish announcers, like, translating the pre-tape in real time.
Yeah, I was wondering why were they talking so much during this pre-tape?
Because the pre-tapes are in English, Liam.
Yeah, but everywhere speaks English.
Guy, mate. Mike Tenay welcomes all the people internationally watching on MediaZone.com on what Mike Tenay calls the World Wide Web.
Wow, that's the WWW.
The color photography in the World Wide Web blowing Mike Tenay's mind here in 2006.
The cultural advances of 2006.
Wait until he sees that there's color photography on the World Wide Web.
Oh my god.
Shelley wins this match with the slice bread number 2, which Tenay also calls a Shirnui, so shout out to Damichi Marufuji.
What?
Mike Tenay uses the nerd name for the move as well as the American name for the move.
Yeah, I just wanted your pronunciation again.
Naomichi Marufuji?
There you go.
I just said it too quick.
Maybe it cut off me, but it sounded like you said Naomichi Marufuji. And I was like, okay.
Listen, we're now 2 hours deep into part 2 of this recording, so don't expect me to say words without mumbling.
I think I'm the one who's meant to be not saying words well.
It's only like nearly 3 a.m. for you. Get over it.
My stomach hurts.
The other match on the pay-per-view, Chris Sabin defeated Petey Williams, Sanjay Dutt, and Puma. I
went less on this than the 3-way, but I think this is my favorite match of the month.
They do just let these 4 guys go out there and have a cool wrestling match.
They just do shit for a lot of time.
Because it is fun. We were talking about how, like, the build to the show is pretty good, but, like, the build to the last 3 matches is pretty good. The build to everything before the last 3 matches, other than Bob Armstrong, is borderline non-existent. So, to fix that, they're just like, let's throw 4 good wrestlers out there, give them 15 minutes, and just let them go.
And it's good! And it builds up the World X Cup nicely.
Yeah, it works out pretty nicely. As we mentioned, the original iteration of this match was meant to be Shinsuke Nakamura in there instead of Puma, but they replaced Nakamura because he doesn't really work in X-Division style.
Oh, but it'd be so funny.
And they were hoping to get Mystico in the place of Sanjay, but that fell through, and they were then meant to get Durango Kid as the CMLL representative, but that also fell through, so Sanjay ended up working the match.
Mystico. Imagine how the course of history...
Mystico could have been a TNA guy?
He could have had a bad TNA run instead of a bad WWE run.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, because I was like, TNA currently don't have a very good track record with international stars. There is Apollo, terrible.
Mystico in LAX.
There is Shocker, who was fine, but he wasn't pushed. And, like, the closest they came to doing well was Hector Garza, and then circumstances intervened in that one. Like, they were actually getting behind Hector Garza, and then...
I was working with him.
And then everything happened that kind of took him off the table. So, like, not a great record, but so you wonder, like, if they did have Mystico, how would that work out? Probably, as you said, not very well, but it would be interesting to see.
Yeah. But also, like, how wicked. How different, you know?
Mike Tenay mentions here that Puma has been wrestling since he was 15. He is wearing a mask, so I cannot put that in context.
He could still be 15.
He could be like 17. He could be wrestling for 2 years. I don't know. He's a masked wrestler. I can't see his face. I get no gauge of what age he is.
Should have told me what age he is.
It sounded like when doing the introductions that Penzer called Sanjay Sean J. Dot. As I said, like not every X Division match you've ever seen, because that sounds dismissive. But like it is like the classic 4 dudes in an X Division match. They're going wild. They're doing stuff. Decent showing for Puma in his first like real, because he did some stuff in 04, but in his first like proper pay-per-view match, good showing for young Puma, young Manic.
We were talking about before how it's kind of weird that TJ Shoot Trash has had 3 masked gimmicks.
Yeah.
Like, and you wouldn't expect like 3 different mask gimmicks too.
For a dude who's like objectively handsome, particularly in the younger parts of his career, it's like, no, we got to stick a mask on this monster.
I guess maybe when he was younger, it was just. I mean, people always have to like allocate reasons, but sometimes people just want to be a masked wrestler.
It might also be the case that because he started wrestling so young, that they're like, we got to put a mask on this guy. He's 17.
Yeah.
We can't have people realizing just how young this guy looks. So masks him up, baby. PD kills Dot with the Destroyer. Sabin pins Puma with the Cradle Shock as Chris Sabin has momentum. Good match. Good showing for the upcoming World X Cup. And if you're going to fill out a pay-per-view with just a filler X Division match, just put 4 guys in and let them have a good match for 15 minutes. It's a good idea. That's the way to do it.
I didn't see, but did they do a thing with PD and Sabin and them avoiding the finishes in this?
They didn't. He didn't go for a Cradle Shock on Sabin, so.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, I expect those two to keep that thread going for every match they have.
Every single match they ever have to do the drop to the knee to counter the Destroyer.
Well, it should just be the thing that that PD just can't hit it on it. Sabin should always get ways out of it.
But he didn't go for it on Sabin on this one. He knows. He's just like, I gotta hit Sanjay with the Destroyer.
Honestly, I'm fine with that too. That makes just as much sense.
There is going to come a point where he's just going to hit Sabin with a Destroyer, and you're going to be devastated.
Unless they play into it, like he gets out of it once, turns around, gets him in it the second time.
But yeah, if you're going to like the other random match thrown on the show was Alex Shelley Jay Lethal, which didn't really have any story. They just threw that match on the pay per view, and like thumbs up. Alex Shelley Jay Lethal was a good match to throw on the show for no reason.